We recording. We recording.
Peace, 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 everyone. Dr. Bass, a pleasure to be with y'all once again. Thank you for another opportunity to be sharing some good stuff with all the lovely souls out there and whatnot. How's it going, brother?
Yeah, we vibing. We chilling, chilling. You know what I'm saying? What about you?
Oh, yeah, I'm so far so good, thanks. And by the way, it's the first cameo appearance of shirtless Andy. Yeah, because in SM right now it is freaking hot. At the beginning of this summer season, yeah, it is freaking hot here. And I've already had several days where I could, well, at least at home, of course, I've gone completely shirtless because it is just ridiculously hot here. So yeah, don't hold anything against me because of it, because yeah, it is really freaking hot right here in SM right now. But yeah, I would think that it's only what how's the weather over there, Dr. Bass?
Oh yeah, it's not too bad. It's kind of like it was kind of like cloudy a little bit after because of like the Canada stuff and whatnot. But we all know the agendas behind that joint. But yeah. Other than that, the sun has been coming out for a little bit though, so it's been
Good stuff. Good stuff. By the way, what is this Canada thing I've been hearing about? Because yeah, this whole I don't know if it's the heat wave, if it has to do with the sun, or I don't know what it is, but yeah, what is it exactly, bro? Plus, I've heard in other places like animals are dropping dead and whatnot, but I guess people also don't know about the those like weapons that they use to kill animals from a distance. Like explain exactly what it is, bro, because it sounds very interesting. And of course, I'll never put these beings over nature because they could never be over nature. But let the people know what it is based off of what it is, bro.
yeah. So like they were just talking about like quote unquote like wildfires in Canada and whatnot, but like let alone the wildfires have been starting in all around in Cali like 2 years ago, but no one really was talking about that. But then all of a sudden now it's happening in Canada, and now people are talking about it. But basically, like, and then I saw like it's like I saw like of some videos talking about how like they saw like some UFOs after like all the clouds kind of like disappeared and everything like that. So like
Mm.
we already know like what's really going down and whatnot, but it's, it's really no effects.
Yeah, these people are a joke. These people, they're trying, and you see just what copycats they are. I mean, big shout out to Dr. Mumbi, whose video we're gonna get into shortly. These people are the great imitators. They saw everything that we created based off of our ancient civilizations, whether you're talking about Kemet, whether you're talking about Nubia, whether you're talking about the Americas, or what we call the Americas today, North America, Central America, South America, whether it be in Asia. Everything that we created based off of our technologies and our the whole nine yards, civilization and all of that good stuff. These people, they took all those concepts and simply reversed engineered or simply created something that's nowhere near as impressive, honestly. I mean, give a man credit for completing his hard work and whatnot, but everything that they created is literally based off of what we already created. It's just not as impressive. You know what I mean, Dr. Bass? And on top of that, now they want to try everything they can to imitate nature, make it look like as if, oh, nature's doing this and nature's doing that, when they themselves are have been destroying nature for how long, since they've gotten on this freaking realm for however many hundreds, at the very least, I mean, at the very most, a few thousand years, a few thousand cycles. But we know these beings have not been around for very long. These beasts, like, and now things are finally starting to bite them, come back and bite them in the ass. And now they're trying everything they can to take out as many ignorant or just flat out, straight up stupid motherfuckers with them. And yeah, it's just sad, Dr. Bass. I have nothing more to say. I have nothing more to say beyond that. It's sad.
Yeah, definitely. Like they just like trying their hardest just to um control people and to like make people just stay. But like at this point, like people are awakening even more. Like even with like new wave spirituality, like as long as the truth is getting out there, that's all that matters, to be honest. So like at this point, it's just like, you know.
And the truth is getting out there indeed. Like with the two videos I just shared with you, there are definitely, as I said, there are more individuals out there who are mentally and spiritually far more qualified than even me and you, because not only are they, well, of course, we're doing our best to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk as well. But I mean to say, these people are literally applying everything that they know to live their best lives yet. And the interesting part about it is YouTube, ScrewTube, ShitTube, whatever you want to call it, these silly ass platforms are doing everything they can to shadow ban them, to like bury them deep within the algorithm. Like the censorship is so ridiculous, and you know it's based off of a quote I remember seeing not long ago. Whenever someone is or like one of these big mainstream media heads, whenever they're censoring someone, they're not censoring because that person is talking lies. They're censoring because that person is saying things that could literally trigger some kind of a awakening, or uh, literally have people question what it is that they're sharing, so that yeah, they could literally, or it's possible that they may go against the very rules that these same heads put in place to keep people dumbed down and whatnot. And it's based off of a book that I'm currently reading from Robert Anton Wilson, Conspiracies, Cults, and Cover-Ups, a 1998 book from him. Uh, yeah, in that book, the Federal Reserve, when you reach the point, when you reach a point in that book where he talks about the Federal Reserve, there's a quote from someone, I can't remember who it was, where they've been explaining the Federal Reserve and all these banks. Oh, by the way, if people didn't know, it's not the governments who control the economy, it's the banks who control the economy. That makes so much sense, right? I mean, think about it. You continually pay taxes, which I don't fucking know why people pay taxes for. You continually pay debts from currency that is literally created from nothing, to which you literally have people who, based off of the so-called founding fathers of America, have said time after time, gold and silver are the only real money. Even JP Morgan and his monkey ass, his Neanderthal ass, he said gold and silver are real money. Everything else is credit. People are literally living off of fucking credit. A fake ass credit system that literally doesn't benefit anyone but those who created it. And big shout out to Bobby Hemmett. Did you know that the people who created this system, or rather who had us create this system for them, because you know these beasts, they're so uncreative. They don't have that imaginative creativity within them, that creative imagination within them. But they have us create their shit for them. So that shows us who's really the true powerful ones. And on top of that, the fact that everything we're using, fiat currency and whatnot, that's all credit. Like you yourself perfectly said not long ago, Dr. Bass, based off of a funny picture you shared with me. So wait, if currency can literally be created from absolutely nothing, as Michael Maloney himself, big shout out to Mike from goldsilver.com, he said it's nothing but a hocus pocus voodoo economy, that these motherfuckers literally have people continually pay debts and credits that they could never fucking pay within their lifetimes, and even their children will never be able to finish pay them in their lifetimes. And yeah, it's just such a sick and evil system. And if you go check Mike's by the way, I'm not sponsored by him or anything, but just to give big shout out to the people who are explaining this kind of stuff based off of the economy alone. It's a sick, slave pushing evil system that was literally created by these banks in order to keep people poor, to keep people poor. What was it? To keep people poor, stupid, and easy to manipulate. Hey, Dr. Bass, what is the majority of people in today's society? Poor, stupid, and easy to control. I need not say anything more. I give it back to you, brother.
Oh yeah, so like the first part, like it really doesn't matter who, which like platform you use, as long as you're speaking your truth and you being your authentic self. That's all that matters. It's not about who does it more popular or who does it here and there, because at this point, you could be more powerful than all these other people if you really truly believe in yourself. But that's besides the point. And then for the banks, yeah, they with all the banks, they're like just like with all the credit cards and every credit and then debt and everything like that. They just want people to stay being debt, stay borrowing money and everything like that using credit because they know they can manipulate people's minds and give them, oh, here's some free money, just use credit and then just pay it back. But these people don't even really know how to use the money, know how to use money because they constantly spend it on useless things. So you have to like if you really want to build your currency up, you gotta really be disciplined. And then for currency, we already know like with different currencies out there, like people just end up losing it and then just wasting it and everything like that. So that's beside the point.
Yeah, Dr. Bass. And like what Mike Maloney himself said, there's a big difference between what true money is and fiat currency. Fiat currencies, if you look at their history, do your own research and uh look at the history of fiat currencies, they all always fall to their intrinsic value, zero. So we know the US economy. Yeah, the US, as we could clearly see, is a falling empire. Hey, even though Kemet itself was one of the longest lasting empires ever, hey, even it fell physically. The Roman Empire, for as great as it was during its heyday, it fell. The Olmec Empire and all these other empires all throughout our ancient histories all across this world, they were all great empires in their own right, but guess what? They all came to an end. The American Empire, people could say whatever they want. It's falling, it's coming to an end. And based off of the model that these shadow governments, these deep states, and these secret societies want to use to control masses and masses of people, yeah, they're doing everything they can to try to usher in a global currency and a one world government so that, yeah, they could easily get their iron fist or vice grip on people. But those who are awakening, especially those who are making a big difference in delaying it spiritually, they're doing everything that they can. And big shout out to those like Dr. Mumbi who've been showing how even some motherfucker at Google, I can't remember that bitch's name, this bitch quit because he realized that the AI, the like overarching AI that I think it was at Google, that they created, yeah, they can't control that motherfucker. That bitch has literally turned against them numerous times already. So like already with the AI, they're already showing us based off of what Terminator and iRobot and all these science fiction movies have been showing us what happens when you control the AI and you make it so good to the point where it not only develops its own sentience, but it literally turns against those who created it. Like yeah, these people, they've literally created something that they now have no control over. And that's exactly why Facebook metaverse and all this nonsense is there, so that motherfuckers could literally only um get a virtual fake experience without really getting the true experience of what the ocean water feels like, what the waters of lakes or rivers feel like, what trees feel like, what bushes feel like, what nature in and of itself feels like. And like, yeah, as I was saying before, with they're trying to create a model like China where, yeah, oh, be a good citizen and we'll give you whatever you want. Be a bad citizen and, yeah, we'll just freeze everything and you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. It's an absolutely sick and evil system, and I don't know why people just don't wake the fuck up, Dr. Bass, and realize the nonsense and the absolute tyranny and the sick, sick minds of the people who run this system. Like, I give it back to you, Dr. Bass, because me, it's beyond me how people could be this stupid, honest.
How I kind of see it is like everyone lives their own life. So if it's not meant for them to wake up, then they ain't waking up at this point because at this point they had 3 years to wake up from what's happened in 2020. So and if they haven't woke up at this point, then I mean like at this point it's their life. So you know, for all the listeners out there, just focus on yourself, focus on your journey, and that's all that matters because you can't really start focusing on other people and if they make it or not, because at this point, you're the only one that really matters. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. And you know the messed up part about it is, Dr. Bass, big shout out to Dr. Mumbi, whose video I'm going to let you just go on and play. Um, it's weird how when people decide to go live off grid, when they see the system for what it is, they awaken, they have their spiritual awakening, they have their epiphany, they have like that light bulb moment, like they see the light, and yeah, they literally just awaken to everything that's going on, awaken to who it is that they truly are. Of course, that's a lifetime journey. So like, yeah, you continually access your so-called akashic records, and you access past lifetimes, and you see all the different lives and all the different skills and all the different gifts that you have and whatnot. But you awaken to all this stuff, and you realize, hey, Jesus is a lie, Christianity is a lie, Islam is a lie, Judaism is a lie, even though there are esoteric, deep truths within all of these religions. But like the way they're currently created is literally just like the economy, just to keep people poor, stupid, and easy to manipulate. Like, yeah, you see the correlations. This is why the seven pillars of society, when it comes to family, when it comes to government, when it comes to schools, when it comes to uh, all of the other pillars, the seven pillars of society. Like this shit goes so deep. It runs so freaking deep, right, bro? Like when you awaken to all this stuff and you realize that you no longer want to have anything to do with the society. You want to get up and just freaking yeah, you want to get up and move off grid. Like you have off grid plans because obviously speaking, obviously this system has nothing to offer to individuals like you and I. So yeah, we want to become as detached, detox, and disconnected as possible from it. Big shout out to you for those 3Ds, bro. But the people who are so attached to the system, who can't, who unlike Neo in the Matrix, Neo, Morpheus, and all those characters in the Matrix documentaries. Yeah, the Matrix is a documentary. It's not a movie. It's a freaking documentary. And just like the movie Fallen, big shout out to you for leading me to that movie, bro. The Matrix, and They Live with Keith David and Roddy Piper. Yeah, Roddy Piper, from 1989, John Carpenter. Like, yeah, amazing how they put the truth in plain sight. They literally just slap them right in our faces in these movies and whatnot. They're telling us that, yeah, this society is literally nothing but a big hamster wheel just to keep you poor, stupid, and easy to manipulate. Big shout out to Robert Anton Wilson with his book. People get that book. In fact, get as many of Robert Anton Wilson's books as possible because this guy, he was tapped into the OTO, which is the Ordo Templi Orientis, which was a group that I believe Aleister Crowley himself helped founded back in the day. And Kenneth Grant, whose books I also recommend a lot of people read as well. Yeah, these individuals, they have inside information based off of these secret societies and whatnot that those who like William Cooper and them, although big shout out to William Cooper and such individuals, they simply did not have enough access to because they were not tapped into these secret societies like these individuals. So yeah, get that book, Robert Anton Wilson, Conspiracies, Cults, and Cover Ups. It's a 1998 book, but it's amazing how movies like The Matrix, Fallen, The Terminator, They Live. This is literally the truth hidden in plain sight. You really think mobile phones are a big deal to these people? These motherfuckers probably been using mobile phones from since fucking 50 years ago, from since 5 decades ago, if not more. Like, we're talking about the beings who these beasts get into contact on a daily basis. These beings are so technologically advanced and whatnot. Like, it's ridiculous. But even I can't remember, there was a series with reptilians called V. Was it a movie series? No, what was it? It was it a movie or was it a TV series? I can't remember exactly. But either way, Dr. Bass, uh, as we get into the video that Dr. Mumbi herself yeah has to share with us, like, it's just amazing how, especially when we look to completely detach, detox, and disconnect from this system, people want to look at us like we're the crazy ones when this sick, narcissistic, absolutely just sickening, just absolutely messed up, mentally draining, this parasitic, vampiric society, this system. It's amazing how when we want to separate from it, these motherfuckers don't want to see us do any of that. Like, goodness gracious, I have no words for it, Dr. Bass. Take it away, brother.
Yeah, I would say like all the listeners and viewers out there, I would say it all starts in the mind, like because at this point you have to detach and disconnect in your mind. If you put your whole sole focus on the system, then you're of the system. If you don't focus on the system, then you're not of the system. So you'll be good either way. So at this point, if you just keep focusing on the system, then you're just gonna keep experiencing the system. So if you detach, and disconnect in your mind first and then spiritually, then you won't experience what all these other people are experiencing because it won't enter your reality. Because whatever you experience on the inside, you're gonna experience on the outside. So that's for all my viewers out there, listeners.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Although it's not easy to having to deal with low vibrational entities on a daily basis. I mean, it's really not. It really isn't. But you make a good point, Dr. Bass. And after all, the ancient Africans, the ancient Kamites, they told us plain and simple, man, know thyself. Indeed, and even the Greeks who learned at the hands of the Kamites themselves, these are simple principles that many of them had the fortune to be taught, and that also probably came to them as revelations for those who were really able to grasp spiritually and mentally what it was that was being taught to them. So, and it's amazing that again, this whole system was created in such a way to keep you dumbed down from the start. So, like, man, fuck all the gods. Big shout out to us, because we're the ones who had to come into this world, incarnate into this world, or reincarnate into this world so that we could anchor in the higher spiritual realms. As the Jesus character himself said, our kingdom come, our will be done here in this realm as it is in the higher realms. So, like, Dr. Bass, yeah, any last words before, yeah, we take it over to Dr. Mumbi?
That's straight facts. Let me share my screen and then we can record it.
Yeah, just skip to, yeah, like 1 minute, 1 minute and change. Yeah, there we go. There we go. You know how it is, Dr. Bass. Big shout out to you. You know what it is. Huh? Why is it playing like that? I can't even hear anything, bro.
Oh, let me I got it.
Stand and side stand. why the narrative has been so important, why they've come for our stories, why they've come for our gods, why they've come to destroy and demonize our ancestors, and why even for us, the oral traditions became so important in passing by, down that, just the essence, and the way we did it would not limit, because Babylon wants to define absolutely everything for you. They want to tell you, 1866 at 10:25 a.m. in here, there. They want to define and confine reality to all these description words. Whereas our ancestors kept it abstract. It was more like keys, spiritual keys, astral keys. And there were certain stories we'd be told about the fox, the deer, and the gazelle, or whatever. Or certain stories about princes and princesses, those who were proud and things didn't turn out too good for them. They always shared stories in a way, because mainly the stories were for children. Because by a certain level, you'd already come into your full mind. But they always told of all the characters, the wicked ones, the good ones, the eternal fight between good and evil. But as we moved more into the Babylon narrative, many of us could no longer dissect or even overstand, understand, and understand our own stories, our own narratives. And so many of them were taken, erased, whitewashed. I think we really take for granted, family, how much has been done to get us into someone else's story, to keep us in that story. Africa is the only place where pastors and preachers know the true nature of the Most High and so-called Jesus. But they'll never tell you it was not Mzungu Jesus, as in, is it Sergio Borgie or whoever. And speaking of which, family, Ron Dalton has gotten a new theater in South Africa for the very first premiere of Hebrew to Negroes on the Motherland. It will be taking place on June 11th, 2023. This is awesome. And, I think just Soweto Theatre even makes it more epic and historic. So if you're in Johannesburg, if you're in the Soweto area, definitely consider supporting our brother. Show up, show out. I'm sure there'll be so many interesting people to meet, so many interesting conversations to be had, and it will just generally be an awesome, awesome, awesome event. And in fact, family, the lengths that Babylon has gone to keep this particular movie out of the South African minds confirms what I'm saying about the narrative is everything. And the reason that Babylon is breaking down right now is because the narrative is breaking down in our collective minds. People are disconnecting, people are elevating, people are empowering themselves. And we're no longer at the mercy of these negative news cycles of Babylon. And it's having a massive effect because they're trying to throw certain spells over the collective consciousness and it's not catching. Because they had planned for like a lockdown immediately after the previous lockdown, like no wasting time. But the collective consciousness rejected that, and the alternative news shared too much. The narrative fuels reality. And whoever controls the narrative is controlling and driving reality. The only reason
Pause it quick, Dr. Bass.
we are not back in our power is because we are
Oh boy. Yeah, man. Like, big shout out to Dr. Mumbi, I tell you. Like, it is just, man, I'm so glad to have come across this sister. And everything is divine synchronicity, divine connection, divine timing. It's only during stupid 19. It's only during the stupid 19 period when that shit started. That's when I got in touch with this sister. Like, yeah, through her videos and whatnot. I'm like, wow. Her, Young Pharaoh, General SETI, all these great brethren. Big shout out to them. But man, and it's amazing to me, brother. Like she said, there's that one brother who she mentioned, Ron Dalton. Big shout out to him. He's been trying so hard. He's been doing his best to literally get this movie out from Hebrews to Negroes and whatnot. But the crackers, but these crackers who what you call it, who did these crackers have been doing everything that they could to keep it out of the collective consciousness of the people and whatnot. Like, it's just amazing, right? It's just amazing. Like, these people will do everything they can to keep our narrative from our own consciousness and whatnot. Like, you could see the level of just how low vibrational, how sick and how twisted these fucking beings are. And like what Bobby Hemmett said, we have to deal with this cracker on a daily basis, and we haven't killed this motherfucker. We show no fear for this motherfucker. So why are motherfuckers so afraid of getting in contact with spiritual beings who could very well help us to destroy this piece of shit? And the cracker is just one of many fucking enemies. We know that the greatest enemy is yourself. We know that you are the microcosm of the macrocosm, that you are your own greatest enemy and that you have to conquer your own dark side and whatnot, which is why a lot of people, as you've perfectly pointed before, bro, a lot of people are afraid to go through the so-called dark night of the soul, having to deal with their own inner demons and whatnot. And like, but not to deviate off topic, like, it's just amazing. Ron being an American brother who has been doing everything he can these past few years to literally get this movie off the ground and whatnot. Like, to show you, bro, they're not censoring because Ron is lying and whatnot. Like, how many stupid shit that's on YouTube that these motherfuckers allow to air? Like, they don't censor any of this stupid shit that literally only keeps people dumbed down. But when it comes to the truth and whatnot, they are terrified and try everything they can to censor the truth, because they know that the truth and the facts are going to trigger something, not just in the people who it's trying to reach, but in the people who, once they find out that their ancestors didn't create shit, i.e., everybody else that isn't melanated, that isn't of the dark skinned, woolly haired people, the original people of the world. So, like, so called Arabs, so called white people, so called Chinese, Japanese, and all Indians, all these other people who literally only just came on this realm yesterday in comparison. Like, Dr. Bass, you share basically what it is that Dr. Mumbi herself has perfectly laid out thus far.
Yeah, like you just have to control your own narrative and just like really just like not even focus on whatever you put your focus on, it grows. So all the viewers and listeners, you know what I'm saying, just focus on yourself and then you'll be straight. Okay.
Yeah, man, because it makes sense. And honestly, this video alone should be enough for people to realize, hey, control your own narrative, write your own story, create your own story. Because if you're not writing or creating your own story, someone else sure as fuck is. But anyway, let's continue, brother.
Are not in our own narrative. It is only when we're able to make our mind, because right now the mind is set on the Babylon reality. We need to reset the mind back into our way of life, into our higher realms, into our dimension. And that's the only way, family, that we can escape the snare of Babylon. Because I'm reporting live and direct from 5D reality. And the one thing I can tell you, family, is that 5D is a very sophisticated, higher level way of thinking, of being, where it's more about your spiritual life, your spiritual practices, manifesting, creating, having fun, talking with others. It's like when you meet others on 5D who are in that higher mindset, you guys quicken each other and miracles come in much faster. But you have to get out of the set mind of Babylon and enter the mind of the creator. You have access to that. Not everyone even has access to the mind of the creator. But as a child of the Most High, that is something you have access to. That is your inheritance. That is the inheritance that has been taken from you. Because once the mind is right, then all those other things, the rubies, the diamonds, the emeralds, I met an elder once who told me that we are the emeralds. We are the gold. It is our vibration that connects with Mama Earth that births those things, that puts those things in the ground. And so if we were to disappear, the rubies, the diamonds, the gold would also disappear. Which means if they can disappear, then they can also reappear. And we use those crystal grids for something. They were put in certain places because even when you talk, and I'm digressing, but let me just share this. Even when you talk to the people who find like these amethyst mounds, they'll tell you it's a massive boulder, like a massive stone. And then when you crack it is when you see all the amethyst crystals. These were probably created to maybe elevate the earth into 5D, 6D, 7D, who knows? But one day we will know. If you start today by getting back into your own narrative, into the narrative of your people, then that will work as a vehicle to take you back into the reality and dimension and experience of our people. And for a while, you may be in this world, but not of it. But soon enough, you'll transition to the true heaven on earth. But those are stories for other days. Tuko pamoja.
Yeah, bro. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Dr. Mumbi. Thank you. Yeah, you heard that last part, Dr. Bass. Like, and she had already mentioned this in a video, I think it was months ago, where she was saying how yeah, these crackers who be always visiting Africa. And I find it to be so ironic, right? People be talking about how Africa is this and Africa is that. Yet why is the fucking crack? You get what it is I'm saying, Dr. Bass? These motherfuckers are telling melanated people Africa is bad, Africa is this, Africa is that. But these fucking crackers who have no melanin, who when they go into certain parts of Africa, the sun is so hot, the climate is so warm that these motherfuckers, melanoma and whatnot, fucking take them out. The fucking sunlight and the heat take them out. But these motherfuckers always visiting Africa. So ironic, isn't it? So yeah, she explained how all these golds and silvers and these rubies and these diamonds and all these precious stones and whatnot, we are the reason. We, the gods, manifest in human form. We are the reasons why these things even manifest because we have that connection with this realm. You know what it is I'm saying? So based off of everything that we spoke about before, remember, we don't have anything against uh this realm in and of itself. This realm could be a very beautiful experience. In fact, we could bring the heavenly realms, the higher realms into this realm and have one very good time. It's the system that was put in place. It's the low vibrational beasts that came that fucked it all up. But man, bro, yo, I pass it back on to you. Let the people know what it is that Dr. Mumbi herself, like just the video as a whole, and yeah, just yeah, take it away, bro.
Yeah, man. For all my like Caucasian listeners and viewers out there, like we're talking about like the selective like you know what I'm saying, dark entities. So like don't feel offended or anything like that
They don't
because
need to feel offended, bro. They don't need to feel offended because we're directly speaking about the very same people who looking to keep their children in bondage, who's looking to keep their children in slavery, who keep sending their children out to fight their fucking wars and whatnot. So this ain't got nothing to do with them. It has to do with the beasts who run the system. These bitches really have to be thrown in the garbage.
yeah, like all the dark entities definitely have to like get up out of here at this point. Yeah, but let me record the next video.
Yeah. Pause the video. Go to, I would say, go to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, bro. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
not so much as things that
The
seem to be
man himself.
theology or true. So just understanding how much surrounds this character that is very easy to explain when you understand esoteric, the esoteric meaning behind Jesus Christ. So now I showed you guys this depiction, this relief that I took this picture myself in the Cairo Museum in Egypt and Cairo. So you can see this is Serapis Christos. This is exactly how he's described. This is how he looks. This is hundreds of years before the so-called birth of Jesus Christ. So you need to understand and take a look here at this figure and how it is the image of the Jesus Christ we see today. And, we have to understand that there has been before Christ a time where the image of somebody we should worship has been in the image of white people, and Serapis is one. And it just goes to show you what was going on when the Greeks ruled ancient Egypt and how they tried to force the Egyptians to worship them as gods and how they decreed themselves to be gods. And they basically took over the roles that the Egyptians had, and reliefs were made of them as Egyptians, dressed as Egyptians. There were statues made. None of this stuff existed before they conquered Egypt. So no one can say that this is the normal stuff that they was doing. So basically, they were living like Greeks, the way they was living. And when they conquered, they started to dress like the Egyptians and decree themselves in stelas like the Egyptians. And they basically copied what the Egyptians was doing. This is proven fact. This is the entire section of the Greco-Roman section in the Cairo Museum, when we see all this Egyptian stuff. I showed you guys Zeus Amon. I talked about it a lot. So this is showing you how they took Greek mythology and tried to pair it with Egyptian mythology and make these new gods for the people to worship. So again, you have before Jesus Christ was supposedly created or born, where we can see that the Greeks were trying to get the Africans to worship the image of them as gods, right? So understand this, going to try to go through this quickly. But you also have to understand the image that we've been shown, our entire lives with Jesus Christ, this white man with blonde hair, blue eyes, or what have you. It's not even the description that they describe Jesus in the Bible. We all know that. Woolly hair, what have you. And then, it's the whole fact that the Bible says that have a long hair and you're a man is basically an abomination. Like you shouldn't have long hair and be a man, which, you would think that they would notice these people who had this depiction of Jesus in everybody's homes and churches for decades, hundreds of years, or what have you. And, the Bible says that the man shouldn't have long hair. So that's kind of crazy. And it's just so much that surrounds this character that we can look at as, spooky. So when we talk about the esoteric part of Jesus and Jesus being the Son, not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N, and all of the representations of Jesus we see as the sun. Jesus walking on water as a representation of the sun setting over water. You see the crown of thorns on his head, and people think that the sun rays that is behind his head is some type of representation of thorns. It's not. The thorns themselves are the representation of sun rays. You always see him with that sun behind his head. And that's giving you a hint as to who he really is. He is the sun in the sky, son of God, which would be the creator, or, what created, the sun. So this is just esoteric understanding for you to grasp. And Jesus is telling you clear as day in the Bible what he is and what he represents, which is many things, just like Satan represents many things. This is going to go over some Christians' heads, but you got to understand that when we say these things, it's not a play on words. It's not that we're using words to try to make fun of Jesus. You got to understand that the English language was created to go with the King James Version. For a reason, you have to understand that these words were created to correspond with certain things in the Bible. And you got to look at these things and say, why would they make the sun, S-U-N, and the word son, S-O-N? Think about that. Now, of course, people are going to say, well, it doesn't say that the same thing in Chinese. It doesn't say the same. Of course, that's Chinese. The Bible wasn't created for Chinese. The King James Version was created in English for English-speaking people. Plain and simple. It was created for the new world to get what they was going to basically create here in America, started. So the Bible was created specifically for that reason. When you go and study the old biblical manuscripts, you can see the reason why the Bible was changed so many times, or revised, they say revised, is because it had to change with the times and change with the people. So case in point, when we seen the original sign for Christianity before Christ was this lamb. It was a lamb on the cross, sacrifice of the lamb. We seen lamb worship before we seen Jesus worship. So they changed. This is all documented. They changed the image of a lamb on the cross and put a man. And then the biblical story of Jesus was created and put out there and pushed to get people to follow this man, this image of this man having this powers or what have you. And it's esoteric. Again, you understand that, as I talked about before, King James is a Mason. The editor of the Bible, Sir Francis Bacon, is considered one of the fathers of Freemasonry, and how they basically coded Masonry in Jesus. Jesus died at 33, Masonic number, understanding the zodiac and the disciples being the 12 signs of the zodiac. Jesus represents the sun, so that would be 13, and then represented by the step pyramid on the back of the dollar, the 13 steps, and around it spells Mason. This all goes back to the same thing. Now, people look at this and everybody got jokes and they just say, well, this is all some type of play on words or some type of joke, but it's right there in your face. And nothing we can find biblical can basically rival what I'm talking about now. So as far as what I'm giving you this information, as far as Jesus the Son, Jesus being a Mason, tectone, the word that they use, which is, they say he's a carpenter. It's basically a Mason. And, nothing that we can find in the Bible gives us this type of insight into Jesus as far as compare him to the real world and things that exist. So clearly, when we talking about this dude, the only thing that fits is this numerology and this, reference to Masonry, this reference to the sun. These things fit versus him raising Lazarus from the dead and walking on water, turning water into wine. None of that can be proven. But what I'm giving you here, giving you these references to Masonry, giving you these references to the zodiac, this is stuff that can be proven, that we can see that makes more sense than this man feeding 5,000 people with 2 loaves of bread and 2 fish and what have you. So you got to look at this, and it's just, again, people being real with themselves and understanding in context what this stuff really means, to compare it to something that's actually existing and true. Jesus being a risen Savior, and understanding that it's talking about the sun, because if the sun doesn't rise, we're all dead, makes more sense. Understanding that, it's absolutely nothing we can go back and find to prove that this man existed. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Jesus didn't exist. His name was Yeshua, Yahweh, whatever name you want to use. You got to remember that everything you know about Jesus, we're talking about, growing up and everything, you got it from a King James Version. A lot of people like to walk around and think that they learned about Jesus from biblical manuscripts and from, Hebrew manuscripts or what have you. You learned about Jesus from the King James Version, period. So when they gave you the King James Version, when it was put out there, if his name was incorrect, why would you believe anything else? Because it's one of the knocks we get on the King James Version of the Bible is that it has been changed. They changed it. They took things out. They altered it. It's not the same. The Bible is fine, but they mess with it. But if they mess with it, why would you believe any of it? Because everything you know came from that King James Version. You didn't learn from the Masoretic. You didn't learn anything from the Masoretic text. They wasn't teaching that when you was young. They wasn't teaching the Latin Vulgate or the Vetus Latina. They wasn't teaching the Septuagint. You was learning from the King James Version, and all those NIV, ESV books came off of that. So these are things that you heard and seen online as far as giving you this whole Yahweh,
Press
and
pause quick,
other
Dr. Bass.
alternative, points about.
Oh boy, man, I'm telling you, yo, this brother right here, Merc, and he made a video. He made a video years ago explaining the Islam in and of itself and the hidden force that controls it in plain sight. The Catholic Church. By the way, the Catholic Church is nothing more than a revised, how can I say, revamped version of ancient Kamite teachings. I mean, look at it. The Pope, with his hat and his robe and on his throne and whatnot, he's supposed to imitate the king of Egypt at the time, which they call the Pharaoh, although I'm pretty sure it's Sutan, but yeah, General Sarah Sutan said he's one of the more qualified individuals to teach all of that. But Dr. Joseph Ben Yochanan, he also teaches a lot based off of ancient melanated history and whatnot. So yeah, big shout out to these brethren. Now you know it's amazing to me, my brother, Dr. Bass. This is all stuff that we not only spoke about, but here you have Merck literally explaining all of this in detail, and it's not even the full video. Like, how much more do not just Christians, but religious people need in order to see that all the answers are right there within their face? Like, give your own explanation as we get back into the video, Dr. Bass, because it is just hilarious at this point. And big shout out to Mike Maloney. If you don't want to cry, then all you have to do is laugh. And all I can do right now is laugh and laugh because I don't want to cry based off of just how stupid people choose to be. After all, ignorance is no, stupidity is willful ignorance after all. Like, goodness gracious, based off of everything Merck shared and whatnot. And yeah, like, yeah, you give your own opinion, Dr. Bass.
Yeah, there's like a lot of people who's just not aware. A lot of people just like staying in like that stupidity mindset and just like really don't know anything about this type of knowledge. So at this point, the truth is getting out there, and if you're not motivated to learn the new knowledge and get with the new times, because at this point, people are talking about, oh yeah, the quote unquote the new normal and going with this AI and robots and whatnot. They they going one way, we going a whole nother way. Like they thinking, oh yeah, the new way of this new how this world is through technology and robots and whatnot. But let alone they don't even realize there's like a whole new off that's coming out, and if you're not on that type of wavelength, then you're just not gonna make it as simple as that. So at this point, you just really have to like look at your own life, realize like do the inner work and really ask yourself, am I gonna make it? Am I doing the necessary stuff in my mind, in my physical, in the spiritual to make it? And that's the question that people should be asking right now.
Oh yeah. And big shout out to Merck for mentioning, yeah, everything that these people think they know about the Bible as so-called biblical history. First of all, Jesus and all these characters can only ever be proven to have existed by the book itself. But all real life research and evidence points to no, they never existed. In fact, there have been many similar characters, many similar personages, many similar entities who, whether in one mythology or another, have already been told throughout the various different mythologies all throughout ancient world history and whatnot. Heck, if we're even going to the Bible, like he said, we're not even talking about the Greek Septuagint. We're not even talking about the Latin Vulgate or the Vetus Latina or the William Tyndale Bible, the John Wycliffe Bible, all these other books, all these different Bibles that existed before King James. King James himself, who was a fucking Mason, for crying out loud. Like, goodness gracious, how much more hilarious can Christians get? Like, and the thing about a lot of these religious people, bro, they know within their heart of hearts that this is nonsense, but they choose to continue to go with the act. Any last words before we get back to Merc, bro? Jeez, man.
Yeah, like a lot of people just like being too in their way and just not realizing like the truth behind it all. Like when someone tells them the truth, um they'll easily dismiss it and be defensive because the truth hurts at this point, and like some people just really don't want to hear the truth, so they stay stagnant and they stay comfortable in their own situations, but they just keep telling themselves a lie every single day. They faking it for their image, and a lot of people are just fake and sheep in wolves and sheep clothing. So you really have to analyze who is who out here, because a lot of people you think are the beach, but in reality they're quicksand. So you gotta watch out for everyone at this point, even your closest people.
Dr. Bass, I give big shout out to you, not just for what you had mentioned before that, but for mentioning that because, yeah, remember, while this realm in and of itself is a feminine realm, it's a, yes, it's a highly magnetic feminine realm. Uh, we did not come into this world while it was high vibrational. We came into this world while it was at possibly the lowest it's ever been. So technically, literally speaking, we came into a battlefield. Bro, everything was set up in place so that we could not remember who we are, but thank true self, thank source or whatever you want to call it, that everything still took place, everything happened, all the dominoes fell, all the pieces lined up so that we would always get back to who it is that we truly are. And like you said, it actually be the people who are closest to us, because forget the crackers who run the fucking system and whatnot. Bro, I could literally just get up right now. If it's for them, I could get up right now and tell them all, yo, fuck off. I'm gonna go live on a fucking island eating nothing but coconuts and bananas all day, and I'm getting away from you dumb motherfuckers. But it be the stupid motherfuckers who we grew up with, these so-called bloodkin and whatnot. These are the people. These are the motherfuckers. You could hear by the tone of my voice. These are the motherfuckers who don't seem to. And remember what Dr. Mombi said in the video. People's minds are too set on the fucking Greco-Roman beast vampire system. Meanwhile, we ourselves are deprogramming ourselves and resetting ourselves to get back to our higher realms. You know what it is I'm saying? And indeed, when we be thinking we be walking on sand, if we don't watch our step, we be walking on fucking quicksand. So big shout out to you on that, Dr. Bass. Like, goodness gracious, we came as the realm is like resetting herself and cleansing herself and getting back to her true higher nature. We got to rise with her because the physical realm as we know it is starting to change and whatnot. And if people aren't making the necessary moves to rise with the new vibrations, oh well, then perish with the old vampiric system because this bitch is dying and let it die. Let's continue, my brother.
Oh Jesus, the stuff that you hear later on the internet, not growing up. This is stuff that we're finding out later on that people are putting out to try to, it's misdirection. Well, maybe the man did exist, but existed by a different name that makes sense for all of the inconsistencies in the book. This is one of the reasons why people jump to the Hebrew faith, Hebrew Israelite, and why people jump to Islam or what have you. Is because when they look at Christianity, they see that something ain't right. They see all of the false promises and just all of the contradictions and problems. And they say, well, maybe these things explain why, but they don't want to let go of the book, the religion. Even though you want to switch to Black Hebrew Israelite, you're still holding on to that religion, to the Abrahamic doctrine. Want to be Muslim, you're still switching up when you're holding on to the Abrahamic faith. You're not realizing that, well, damn, if I don't believe this book, why should I believe this? Especially when it comes to Islam, when you got to understand it came last. And you could go back and look and say, well, this stuff been around for a long time, and we could find Islamic stuff, predating Islam or what have you. Then it's not Islam. You gotta understand what they taking and what they piggybacking on to use
Plain and simple.
Islam. It's the
Plain
same
and
thing
simple.
trying to do for Christianity and Judaism. They're going back into ancient history and taking things and trying to use that to give validity to their creation. It's just what's going on. And Jesus is telling you exactly in the book what it is. It's so much that he represents, including you. So when he says that, I'm in you and the kingdom of God is in you, he told Nicodemus the only way you can see the kingdom of heaven is to be born again, giving you reference to the womb or what have you, the woman's womb being born all over again is exactly what he's talking about. So I got into that. So it's a lot to that, but understanding what Jesus represents, and it's not this dude that's going to answer prayers and save you and be your savior or what have you. If that was the case, then those people shot up in churches, in Nigeria, Florida, Texas, Carolina, but it never happened. You'll be able to just drop to your knees and pray, and there will be power in that, and things will change. It's offensive, and I take offense to it when I see people pray and think that they can get something that somebody that's far more deserving didn't get. Mothers praying for their children to recover from cancer, and they don't. They die. But you prayed and you worked hard and got a job, and you prayed and you worked hard and got a car, and you're going to say Jesus did that. Jesus gave you a car over saving this child's life. How is that possible? What makes you so special when you sin continually every single day? And this innocent kid who doesn't know anything dies from something that he don't even understand. It's just crazy that people do this, and I think it's real sick when people act like their prayer and blessed and highly favored, that they're somehow more special than a little child that's dying from something that they can't even comprehend or spell. Now I understand, I get it. This world is tough. It's not a lot of hope out there, and people they will do anything. It's desperation, and people will jump and cling on to anything to get that hope, to make them feel better, just to get through the day. Some type of hope. And for a lot of people, Christians, Jesus is that hope. And when you try to take that from somebody, that's all they have. You look like an evil person, or you seem like an evil person, and it's not that we're trying to do that. Is we're trying to get people to come into grips with reality, which if you understand what Jesus is telling you in the Bible, he's trying to do the same thing. People just don't get it. He's giving you, he's telling you it's a parable. He's telling you that the kingdom of God is within you, that you are God. Didn't I tell you that you are gods? Multiple times Jesus said that you are gods. So he's giving you that message, and people who don't read the book just don't understand what it's alluding to and what is it trying to tell you. And it's right there. If you read the book, you'll get it. If you understand the book, you'll get it. And it's deep. It's a lot to it. But for those people, because so many people look to, they look to YouTubers, they look to content creators, what have you, and not real researchers and people that really do this. It's people out here telling y'all that Jesus actually existed, but may have existed under another name or what have you. And you can call him whatever you want to call him, but the biblical character, Jesus, in the Bible never existed. So whatever you want to say that person could have possibly been and what his name could have possibly been, there's no proof of that. There's absolutely no proof of Yahweh, Yahawashah, Yeshua, what have you, being in the role as the biblical character Jesus Christ. It's just, people just saying it. It's no proof that by any other name that this person did those things, raising the dead, healing the sick and the blind or what have you. Still no proof. That's worse than, the Jesus Christ character. Because at least we can go back for hundreds of years and see people talking about it. Even when we get back down into the 1600s and, it wasn't no J's. It's still a mention of that biblical character. But, and none of those biblical manuscripts that we find Yeshua, Yahweh, or what have you. So I would think that, hundreds of years, and these people doing these translations, they would have got the name correct. And the fact that they didn't, and then now in the 2000s, y'all want to say, oh no, this was his name. And then, discount everything else. They got his name wrong. So why would you believe anything else after that? God is punishing people in a book, for the smallest things, but he would let these people get away with, Jesus' name being incorrect for thousands of years. Yeah, it don't make sense. So it's a lot to really get into and grasp when it comes to Jesus. And just, people just really doing some mental searching and understanding what's possible and what's not. And one of the things that's real easy to see is, student walk on water. He didn't turn water into wine. He didn't raise the dead and what have you. They're parables. There are, allegorical stories about sheep when you really begin to understand. But, just a quick little thought on Jesus, because a lot of people do ask me questions about it. But for the most part, I brush him off like, come on, man. The dude he never existed. He don't exist. It's one of those grow up things. Like, really, you really talk about this person and people getting them tattooed on them or what have you. It's a character. And, not knocking the tattoos, whatever like that. If you want to, if people get Snoopy tattooed on them, it is what it is. But for you to actually believe this person exists, then that's different. But yeah. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Make sure you guys grab those flash drives. I'm going to continue to put out little videos here and there to try to get the content out. It's a big update coming to the Merkable Academy. Make sure you guys grab the flash drive. Grab them.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Update coming to a lot of things, but
Woo! Big shout out to Merc, man. Big shout out to the brother. And like I said, there was more that I wanted to get into, but yeah, I think that should be enough for today. But yeah, man, Dr. Bass, let the people know, based off of that video, just the wealth of information that people could be tapping into. Like, the whole purpose of it is to, after getting off of watching these videos and whatnot, do your own research. I don't care if you go to the local library, or I don't know, you go deep, you search deep into the internet and like search for stuff that, yeah, that leads you to what it is that either Merc or Mumbi or anyone else who's been exposing the truth, who's been sharing the truth and facts have been talking about. Like, yeah, let the people know what it is, Dr. Bass, because some good stuff, and I'm very grateful for these brethren indeed.
Yeah, like you're not here to make others understand you. You are here to understand yourself. So what's a better way to know thyself is really putting in that work and not letting other people's influence dictate where you go in life, because a lot of people do stuff for other people. You can't fill up another person's you can't fill up another person's cup if you're not overflowing with abundance. So at this point, you have to put that power within yourself so you can overflow in other people. So like really just listen to that intuition and go with your heart, because your mind will play tricks on you, but if you just follow your heart, then that's where you should lead.
And that's so deep. That's so deep. Your mind will play tricks on you, because the mind in and of itself, when you don't tame it, it is just, well, if you really stop and think about it, yeah, when it comes to thoughts and the ego and whatnot, it all goes hand in hand. And even in a movie, there's a movie series. I would at least advise people to watch the first three movies. It stars Christopher Walken in it. The Prophecy. Like, remember in the I think I shared that video with y'all already. Either way, we'll probably share it again for another time, but just so people get the message, where Bobby Hemmett was speaking about how when we come into this physical realm in and of itself was created by, well, demiurge entities who, even when you go into ancient mythologies, like when you go into West African mythologies, you even go into Greek mythology, the Babylonian mythologies. There's a reason why they don't teach mythologies in schools and whatnot, but it shows that yeah, this physical realm in and of itself was created by demiurge entities, and that the only way you can escape is if you literally, well, much like Eddie Murphy in Come to America, you have to find the love first. Big shout out to Brother Panic for having shared that with us. You have to find the love first. You need to get to that higher, yeah, your heart. You need to get into that higher love, that understanding and overstanding. And yeah, this movie series that Bobby Hemmett had also mentioned, The Prophecy with Christopher Walken, it shows us plain and in broad daylight these entities who these Christians and whatnot be praying unto. They don't like their asses. They don't care about them for nothing. And it's even more messed up because Bobby Hemmett mentioned how when he read in the Upanishads, which are like ancient Typhonian matriarchal time stuff, where these entities clearly said, and I be if I'm not mistaken, who it was Milo Rigo. No, not Milo Rigo. Although his book is good, The Secrets of Voodoo. Get that book. Um, it was Reginald Crossley in his book The Voodoo Quantum Leap, another good book where he literally compares quantum physics, quantum mechanics, the study of quantum physics and whatnot, and how he compares it with voodoo and how everything goes hand in hand, where it speaks in ancient mythologies, like how Bobby Hemmett mentioned with the Upanishads, how these gods, these entities, they don't care about us and they're doing everything they can because remember, we are a part of the Great Mother, the ancient primordial realms that existed before this universe. Because even mundane science teaches us that oh, this universe is what 14 billion years old and whatnot. Oh, okay. So then, if this universe literally had a beginning, and we could calculate how old it is, that means something else existed before it, and we hail from those primordial existences, bro. A group of younger gods having fallen asleep. You could even read it in Lord Dunsany's book, The Gods of Pegana, where these younger gods now take control of the world because the primordial gods are fast asleep. So that really explains a lot. But I mean to say, man, Dr. Bass, just yeah, yeah, you let the people know what it is, bro, because like, yeah, shit goes deep. It goes deep, my brother. And based off of everything what real Merkaba and Dr. Mumbi shared, it all ties back to the nature of this world because think about it. It makes sense how, based off of what Merck himself said, you praying unto this so-called Jesus character. First of all, the letter J didn't even exist before the 16th century, so it had to be Yeshua or Yahushua or however you pronounce it. So you literally are explaining yeah, you haven't even been pronouncing his name right and whatnot, and these these entities yeah, like, I mean to say, people have don't realize just how uh yeah, these, you have to realize that we live in a world that clearly is nowhere near as it's this world clearly, when you see it for what it is, then you start to realize that, yeah, the nature of it and whatnot. Because think about it, when you go into all the ancient mythologies, bro, um how could this world be created by a loving God? Clearly the creator of all things. I mean, think about it. Why would the creator of all things even give a damn about this world? Like, think about this world, bro. This world, especially when you really get into the nature of this world, it's all kind of messed up. You know what it is I'm saying? Like, this world is all kind of messed up. So like, yeah, by the way, I'm just doing something for someone here. So yeah, yeah, don't mind that. But I mean to say, like, how could you tell me that this world was possibly, but even Jacques Le Carrier mentioned it in his book based off of the Gnostics. This world was clearly created by some kind of a sick and twisted entity or groups of entities. Like, man, take it away, Dr. Bass, because I've rambled long enough. You check?
Oh yeah, like with all this like system, we all know like these beasts like, you know what I'm saying, try to have it in their own way and try to have it all about power, control and money at this point. That's what they are motivated by, and they all work together. And you think, oh yeah, one government is for this country and then the other government is that for that country, and then it's all about division. So they think, oh yeah, Democrats versus Republicans, whites versus blacks, and all this other stuff. But so they want you to be split into one half, but all along, it's not about division because at the end of the day, they all work together because they want that one world government. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, you just gotta
Bingo.
focus on yourself though, because so you can't fall up in
Yeah,
that
indeed,
trap.
indeed, my brother. And I could not have worded it better than you already did. These beasts, they work together because they know that they're looking to achieve a particular goal, and they have to divide the masses. They have to divide, but then again, this was never about the masses. It was always about the select few powerful, great ones who would reawaken, come together, and who would have to come together to yeah, combine our powers to literally take these beasts out. Like, goodness gracious, it makes so much sense when you really look at it for what it is. But essentially, in the ancient mythologies, it clearly shows us. But if I'm not mistaken, Bobby Hemmett had mentioned, what was it in the was it in the was it in the Upanishads itself or the Mahabharata, where he mentioned about how the creative force that created this universe? Because remember, even Dr. Phil Valentine, and we had already shared it a while back, how Dr. Phil Valentine had mentioned that this universe has something bizarre about its creation. It's as if something created it, and then after that, it just left. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's like something created it, and after that, it just freaking left. It's like the absent landlord. So I came, created a freaking, I created a freaking house, and then after I'm done making that house, I completed that house. I just decided, fuck it. I left it here. Whoever want to take it, and then I just left for whatever reason. Like, that's literally this universe, bro. It's being run by a bunch of psychopathic beings and whatnot. Like, anyway, bro, as we're closing this out, yeah, let the people know what it is, Dr. Bass, because it goes deep.
Yeah, at this point, it's like the people who are over here like just made a house, like a destroying house, and then left it because they knew it was gonna be destroyed. And then all these people looking at this house like, oh yeah, it's a mansion. Oh yeah, it looks so good and whatnot. But then once they get inside and once they are part of that house, oh yeah, now it's crumbling. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like this system. Get what I'm saying? Once you're a part of the system, they already know it's all crumbling and whatnot. So that's why they are over here trying to leave to Mars. That's why they trying to go to underground and all this other places and whatnot. So at this point, you just have to see things for what it is because they know dang well it's all collapsing. These dark entities, their time is up, and now it's all time to rise above it all, to be honest with y'all. Cap, so yeah.
Indeed, indeed, bro. Indeed, like, I'm telling you, bro, this system, it has to collapse. It has to collapse, and honestly, you shouldn't feel any pity for those who want to die with the system, for those who cannot see life beyond the system. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't feel pity for those because, like you said, you focus on the things that are not important. You focus on the things that are not important, you're only gonna keep yourself back. Like, yeah, you really got to focus on the things that matters, and what matters more than your own salvation, like to rise above this physical realm, this illusionary realm, to get back to where it is that you came from, or to even move beyond that. Because Hey, Brother Panic himself already put it best, but all the ancient mythologies teach us that this is not our home. We're just on a journey here. We're just on an adventure here. It's just a temporary stop. You know what it is I'm saying? There, it's a grand universe or multiverse or whatever you want to call it out there, bro. What the fuck would we want to continually come back? And you know, something is interesting. Something interesting I just realized, right? When you read all these ancient mythologies and whatnot, because the universe is mind. The Kabbalion teaches us that, but the laws of Jehudi, which the Kabbalion is based upon, teaches us that the universe is mental. And even Reginald Crossley mentioned in his book, The Voodoo Quantum Leap, the afterlife is literally what you make it, you know, my brother. These Christians be saying about, oh, you're gonna burn in hell and this and that. Well, first of all, motherfucker, fire can only burn physical substance. And there are clearly substances that exist in the physical realm that fire cannot burn any fucking way. So if you really stop and think about it, heaven is an even worse place to go than hell because you're gonna end up worshiping a motherfucker who probably ain't even worthy of that worship for day and night for all eternity. And when you put off this physical body, you are in your true essence, like pure energy. Like, goodness gracious, bro. Like, thinking about this stuff would give you a headache, but honestly, forget all of that because we only have to focus on our own salvation. Any last words, Dr. Bass, as we close this one out? Because, yeah, despite all the distractions and all the stuff that tried to get in the way, we made it, my brother. Uh, yeah, we made it, brother. We made it. So, any last words, bro?
Uh, yeah, I would just say like with like that hell and heaven aspect, like because like once we die, like we leave off this physical body, anyone can really see that way. And then for the people who say like, oh yeah, we're gonna burn in hell and whatnot. So since hell can only burn physical substance, but we leave our physical bodies, so that means they won't have enough effect on us. So so at this point, you will rather choose hell over heaven because at this point, you don't even know what you're going to be doing in heaven because every day you're going to be doing the same stuff and all that other stuff. You already know that type of stuff. So, yeah, but it's all mindset though.
And you know, bro, I could also add, um, like you already said, what the hell is the schedule gonna be? What is it exactly are you gonna do? And furthermore, it was in a book I read. It was Bill Duvendak who had mentioned it, where he was quoting from someone. I'd rather be a ruler in hell than to be a slave in heaven. Bro, you're telling me I'm going to continually be a fucking slave to some dumb motherfucker for all eternity? What the hell happened to being my own god? Whatever happened to being my own creator, my own ruler, the person who's literally directing my own self and whatnot? Like, whatever happened to that? And furthermore, um yeah, all the universe is mental, everything is mind. We're literally just aspects of source, literally having our own individual experiences, all while still being connected to one another. Yes, including the low vibrational beings. So that means to tell me, uh, if that's the case, if that's the freaking case, then and if no. What's even worse about it, bro? So you're telling me the afterlife is pretty much like the experiences I've had here on Earth? Well, if that's the case, then I might as well reincarnate and come back to this realm and make, or rather create, the best experience that I can in this realm yet, because I ain't leaving this physical realm to go back to a fucking place that's just like this physical realm. Just how asinine and silly can people get? Dr. Bass, as we close this out, any last words?
Nah, I think you nailed that joint in the coffin. Okay.
Man, we nailing that bitch, my brother. I'm fucking telling you, it don't make no sense. It's best I just reincarnate and come back to this bitch and don't get in my way. Because you motherfuckers with your silly ass thinking about some god who's gonna, first of all, it's so damn patriarchal. It's so damn, goodness gracious. It's probably a topic for another time. But all I could say is, bro, women need to get back into their true power. The men need to get off their asses and do what it is they gotta do. And The gods, the true great ones, need to wake up and literally put this system to the ground, because this bitch is falling, and it ain't falling fast enough. It has to literally die and have no hopes or anything like that of resurrection, because it's not worth it, Dr. Bass. It ain't worth it. You got to realize when something ain't worth it. This system is beyond not worth it. Fuck it. Like what Buzz Lightyear said. And shout out for mentioning Buzz Lightyear, bro. To infinity and beyond. And that's not this physical realm. I could tell you that much.
Yeah, at this point, you just have to let this joint go because it's not gonna last anytime soon.
Nope. This universe had a beginning and it's going to have an end. Where we're going is eternity. Where there was no beginning and neither is there an end. Yeah, we got to go to source. That's where we got to go. That's where we got to aim for. But either way, Dr. Bass, thank you so very much for the opportunity. See y'all another time. And yeah, thank you, Dr. Bass.
Oh yeah, that was a good one, man. Okay.
Yeah, peace, peace.
Yeah, so anyways, if you like the video, subscribe, follow the podcast, you know what I'm saying? Follow the podcast. And yeah, so make sure like if for like any like viewers or listeners out there, we just speaking out the knowledge and whatnot, so like you can't really take anything too personal like and whatnot, because if you take anything too personal, then that's a trigger for you, and you're getting triggered for a reason. You get what I'm saying? So if you're still getting triggered, if you're still getting offensive over some stuff, if you're still feeling a type of way, a type of vibe about what people say, you know what I'm saying? At this point, you might have to do some inner work. You might have to do some shadow work because you got some issues that you're not facing. And as simple as that. Make sure you rate the podcast, make sure you follow it, and share it if you like. Okay, bye.